It's 6 o'clock. I'm calling to order this regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Bandera. We're at City Hall at 511 Main Street on Monday, July the 26th, 2021. All council members are present with the exception of Mayor Pro Tem Gibson. The City Secretary is present and our Marshal is present. Item 2 is the invocation and pledge. Would you rise for the invocation and pledge and move to the leaders in prayer?
Most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all together safely this evening. Lord, we'd ask for your blessings upon the meeting, the Bandera City Council, as well as the citizens. Lord, we'd ask for your continued blessings upon this great country and healing in these troubled times that we're currently in, Lord. Lord, most of all, we'd like to thank you for your Son who died upon the cross for our many sins. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 is visitors to be heard, and no one has signed up to speak tonight. So item 4 is discussion of possible action on the following items. Item A, discussion of possible action on approval of permission for Bandera Fire and Rescue to use both pavilions and have overnight campers on October 22nd, 2021 and October 23rd, 2021 for their annual fundraiser and cook-off. Max, you want to talk to council? Jeff, you want to talk to council? Somebody want to talk to council? Max, not it.
Hi, Jeff. We want to do our annual barbecue fundraiser here in the city. We think we'd get better turnout at the park, and we think it'll benefit both people, or both entities. But the barbecues have to come in Friday night, so we're asking for a variance for the overnight parking, or overnight camping. They will have certain events that will be judged Friday night, so they'll come in Friday day, spend the night, the main judging, the main events Saturday the 23rd, and then they will disperse Sunday morning. So that's what we're asking for.
Thank you, Jeff. Questions, council? Tony?
I have a question. First, about how many cookers do y'all normally have? Do you know? Teams?
Right now, we don't know that. We had about 30 last year. We didn't do it last year. The previous year, we had about 30, and we held it at Mansfield Park. We understand the not letting them park down at the lower sections, which is fine. We'll abide by all those rules. Just we'll keep them up in the back area.
I'm just trying to think of, I love this idea. I mean, I like it when we do events in the park, so let the record show. I'm just trying to think of the things that we've had in the past, not your cook-off, but other cook-offs we've had issues. I know that they've resolved some of those where they have them take their vehicle, like they set up camp, but then their vehicles are parked outside they're outside the park, so when they need to leave or come to town or something that they're not expecting, that they're not having to try to get out of the park when it's locked. The other issue is like glass and styrofoam. You know, a lot of times they bring pickles and things like that, you know, and that's glass. Just an FYI. I'm just saying that these are probably things that we'll need to make sure that, you know, because that's a state law. Y'all know that. What other things have there been? Will might be able to talk to that. Any other issues that we need to just...
The glass is the biggest problem, but we have a great working relationship with the fire department. I'm sure that this will continue.
Oh yeah, and this is more of an FYI because y'all will be in charge of that, and so these are like lessons learned, but not to hinder it from happening, just things to address.
We've got a preliminary flyer that we haven't finalized yet, but on it, it already says no glass containers.
Perfect.
That's more for the public awareness, but we can tell the barbecuers that as well.
Right. And then y'all are gonna do all the cleanup as far as the trash cans,
Yes.
taking it to the
We
dumpsters, so
did
we
the
don't have to
cleanup
bring
at
anybody
Mansfield
in.
Park, so yes, it's not a problem.
Thank you. That was all.
Jerry?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I move to grant permission for Bandera Fire and Rescue to use both pavilions and have overnight campers on October 22nd, 2021 and October 23rd, 2021 for their annual fundraiser and cook-off.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Christine seconds. Further discussion, council? Yes, Tony?
I think you said and those dates, you meant through those dates, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, okay, that's awesome.
Well, they're consecutive, so it works. All right, further discussion?
I thought it
All in
was-
favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you, council. Item B, discussion of possible action on city council and the mayor involvement in the day-to-day operations of Bandera Economic Development Corporation business. I think I know how this one came up, Tony, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when the signature cards came up, I was contacted by the bank with their concern, and that's when I contacted EDC. Or otherwise I would have never been involved, so
So I've seen emails where you were involved, and I saw emails where you specified specific things, and so mine was more general, the mayor and the council, because I do not, our EDC is finally trying to get footing. We've got a new admin, we have a new board, and I have repeatedly said, I will do everything in my power as a member of this council to not allow that EDC to have to go through the EDC, what the EDC went through last year. Period. You resigned from the board. You are no longer a member of the board. If you have an issue with any board decision, then you need to bring it to council and council will discuss. And that is true not just for you, Mayor, but every single council member. If they have an individual issue with EDC and we need to have a special meeting of council to handle it, if that so be it, then you're in charge of that, making an agenda and calling a meeting. But under no circumstances should any individual city council or mayor be causing expenditures to the EDC and causing the amount of unnecessary work that the admin had to do because of the way that the bank felt that they were responded to when they asked a question, when they called City Hall to ask a question. When City Hall, nobody at City Hall should be answering for the EDC. If at anything, they should have been directed to Jared. I think it's all resolved now. This is more of a reminder that I do not want the EDC to, and if I was not a member on it, I would still be saying the same thing. They should not have to go through what the EDC went through last year. And that was the reason, just to remind all city council that we are not individuals. Our opinions are part of a board, and the majority rules after discussed in an open session, period.
And remember too, that I did make the statement in my last email to Laura, and I said it to the bank as well. EDC works independently of the council when it comes to the bank and their signatures. So that was my bottom line, period, the end.
Okay. And if that was what was conveyed, then that probably wouldn't have been an issue. But that isn't what was conveyed, and what was conveyed was actually written in an email by you, so there's
Well,
some
so was
sort of
that line as well.
verification.
That email was sent as well to the EDC, to Laura, as a matter of fact, in response to one of her emails.
Right.
So at that point, as I told the bank, you're
Yeah,
on your
but
own.
that was told to the bank as well.
Yes,
So
it
to me,
was.
yes, and so why would you be telling the bank that? Why would you be telling the bank that you felt that there was a conflict of interest that Christine
I
and
didn't
I
tell
were
the
sitting?
bank that. I said that to you as a
Okay,
board.
the bank is the one that told Karina that. The bank said those words to Karina. Okay, I'm just gonna clarify things. No vagueness anymore. The bank told Karina that you personally were not in agreement of the EDC making a decision to have all board members on the signature.
not true.
Those words came out of the person that was handling it at the bank to Karina. She wasn't sure what to do. It is hearsay at this point in my mind. Later, a couple of days later, I saw an email from you that said specifically the exact same words that the bank told Karina, which was that you felt that Christine and I were a conflict of interest because we sat on both boards, which I find it a little hypocritical because you were not only president, but you were on both boards and
Yeah.
a signer for
I
both. So
agree.
I feel as though
Yeah.
that's an issue. So if you have an issue with that, you don't tell the bank that.
And I didn't tell the bank. I didn't even go
Okay,
to
the bank knew that somehow.
I didn't-
Somehow the bank knew it, and that's what caused all the problems. Karina had to run around, I don't even know how many hours she spent running around unnecessarily because the bank, they're a financial institution. Clearly they want to do what they feel is right. Karina clearly wants to do what she feels is right. they were both getting misinformation, and you were the only one that seemed to be in the middle. So how it all got messed up, I don't know, but this is a reminder that we are a board, we are a collective decision directing the EDC and overseeing them. And so individual opinions should never be at a financial institution to put them in a situation where they can't even look at our minutes and as a board, and they don't have any confidence in us as a board to make that decision. And that's basically what happened, is that they had no confidence in us.
Then, when they contacted me, I didn't even go down there. I did not go there. She was leaving town. I did not go. She called me over and over to come down there and look at this, called it irresponsible. Yes, Jill?
This specific situation is not on the agenda. So y'all need to talk about the action on what the involvement of the day-to-day operations needs to be, not this specific
I think we've established that part.
situation.
I think we've established that, and this is an example of why it was on the agenda, so I think that there was some leeway there.
I think we've already covered that though, so
Yeah.
I think we need to stick to
I
the
agree,
item.
I agree, but it really is going forward, that as a reminder of the board, because we do not want to rehash last year. We want clear direction to the EDC. Christine and I will not be on there, I mean, we're gonna see it through budget season, I believe. But we want people to join a board with confidence and contribute to the community. I don't want to be on there, I don't have the time to do both. I signed up for this, I walked away from that, and so this type of thing causes unnecessary heartache, and it causes the new board to lose their footing. And I think we as a council owe that to them to oversee them properly as a majority. And
Very good.
that is my point.
Do we
Thank
want,
you.
do
Yes,
we
sir.
want any action?
No, it's just a,
I don't need any more action.
Exactly why I refuse to be on both. It's easy to get it mixed up.
All right, very good, thank you.
okay. We're on to C. Discussion of possible action on city council, discussion of possible action on city council and the mayor involved, oh, we did that one already. Discussion of possible action of the powers and duties of the acting city administrator until the position has been filled.
So I know that when we were in, I don't know if it was closed session or open session, but we were talking about city administrator and going through, we don't have one again, and you are acting administrator. And we talked about discussing it as a council and limiting your actions regarding personnel, hiring, firing, whatever, because of the discussion we had at that time. And so that's the reason it's on here, is because so. that's been fair.
Well, I certainly took your applied direction to heart. I mean, I've certainly not taken any steps in that direction, so if y'all want to make it public and official, and make it a moratorium on hiring until the new admin is on, then please do so.
I think that, I have a couple of things that I was gonna mention. Okay, so yes, you're acting admin, but the way the ordinance reads, I believe, is that you work with the admin to report to the council. And so that is part of your duties as mayor, and with you acting as both. I feel as though communication should improve. I think that, I had no idea you were on vacation last week. I think any of us could have helped out if we needed to. I think that there were a lot of things that were happening. I just think I think as an FYI, as some of the admin duties, and you as mayor, that you're supposed to be reporting to council, I think that as oversight, I think it would be helpful to us, since we can't talk amongst ourselves, that we know when people are out on extended medical leave, or we have a resignation in the house. And it's funny that we only get, since I've been around, I've only received 2 emails regarding resignations, and they were Terry Bird and Martin Park. And no other time has any resignation come out to council while I've sat on council. And I think things like that are important. We lost several people where us as a council do not know certain things are happening, so how are we supposed to oversee or understand what's happening. So I think while you're working in both roles, I think we should improve communication of just high level oversight. We don't need to be in the day-to-day business, but if people are on extended medical leave or who's on vacation, if there's any changes of duties in the office, I think that we're coming up on budget season and we're gonna be needing to, like we talked about, we're gonna be needing to look at the hierarchy and how we're gonna budget for employees and raises and all of that stuff. So I think all of this information is good because right now we're running half staff. And as people need vacations, they need their vacations, then we need to know that our city's not running fully. And so if we get a complaint or something from a constituent, then we should be able to say, we've got a few things going on. The office is closed because we had a diesel leak. I mean, those are emails that, I'm getting calls from constituents on, not this particular time, I happened to be with Jill on Wednesday when that happened. But, I mean, otherwise, I would have not even known that the city hall was closed except for the Facebook post. And I think communication needs to improve. And I would ask you to do that as admin. And so if I need to make a motion, I will do that. Anybody else have any input on that? I'll just.
Just let me comment. I don't think the communication thing would necessarily need a motion, and I guarantee you, I've taken to heart what you said, and so, I'm just trotting along here doing what administrative things. Administratively, our department heads run their departments, so nothing really comes to me at all. And if it did, it would come to the council instead in this current situation. So, as far as the communication, I can certainly see where it could have been a problem. Everybody in the office was aware, and the Mayor Pro Tem was aware. I attended meetings by phone. I was not gone. I was gone, but I was not neglecting the city in any way, shape, or form. So, anyway, what else?
I would like to make a motion on
Okay.
the duties itself. I'd like to make a motion that the mayor, as working as active city administrator, limit her duties to day-to-day operations and no personnel hiring, firing, or action take place
Works for me.
without council review.
Okay, Jerry,
I'll second that motion.
any other discussion?
Would you reread that motion? Or would you restate it exactly? So I want to make sure I completely understand.
So while the mayor is acting as city administrator, that she
Limit day-to-day.
limit her day-to-day operations
Administrative.
to just that, and no personnel hiring or firing or action be taken without council approval.
Yes, that's what I got.
Or review, without council review. I didn't say approval. I said review. I don't think it requires approval.
And Jerry seconded?
Jerry seconded.
Discussion? Darcy?
I'm good with the no hiring or firing part. It's the broad or other action without council review. That puts us in the admin
I
spot.
believe she means personnel-related
I said
action.
personnel actions.
The way I understood it the first time it was
I think I
stated.
said
So like
personnel actions.
write-ups.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
complaints,
for clarification's sake, I do believe that's what she,
changing of duties. Like actual personnel actions where you move somebody from one to another department.
Darcy, anything further?
I just don't know that I want a whole council involved in every one of those details. Yeah, the hiring and firing, I get that. I'm on board with that, but
Well, let me just, for the sake of this issue, because it has been seconded, at this point, we're very close to getting an administrator, I do believe. We have a Zoom meeting with Max Westbrook and discussing these final prospective applicants. So it's not gonna be a matter of months as it has been. You know, it's just gonna be a matter of a few days. Everything's rocking along just fine right now. I don't see any problem with the restriction on personnel interaction. I really don't.
If I may, I'm trying to look at it as a department head and as a regular employee. If we don't trust our department head to be able to write somebody up and then for it to be escalated, then that shows that we're not trusting them. And then at the same time, when you're looking at being an employee,
Just a minute.
and you have to go before a council, an entire council, instead of talking to your department head and then talking to your administrator, you talk to the mayor in this case, due to a write-up, and instead you have to decide, is it gonna be in open, is it gonna be in closed session? You have to worry about all those things.
Would you
Just
let
to be
Jill?
clear, the motion is on the mayor's limiting of hiring, firing personnel. It has nothing to do with the department heads. So the mayor's acting admin position would be Public Works Director, Marshall, myself, Treasurer. It wouldn't be day-to-day, like anybody in Will's department wouldn't go to her for a write-up or to be hired or fired. So the motion as it's stated is only regarding the acting administrator. So most of those day-to-day things that you're saying are not gonna apply to this situation.
But if you write somebody up and you wanna suspend them, does it not have to go to the administrator?
No,
No.
no, department heads work independently of the administrator. In some instances, it's discussed before it's done, but it doesn't require administrator approval. Yes,
I'll
sir.
call for a vote.
Okay, all in favor? Christine, Jerry, Tony in favor, opposed? Darcy, do you abstain? Darcy abstains. Okay, item D, Rebecca has asked that this be pulled from the agenda because she's not present. However, I have an update that I would like to give to council on this very matter, if that's with your approval. Bandera has ranked number 20 with the Texas Water Development Board for the Clean Water SRF, yeah, revolving fund. What that means is that would be the sewer plant, our wastewater plant. The invitations have gone in September. Unfortunately, they capped their free money at $4.5 million. We're still looking at a $15 million project. I've sent an email to Judy Langford asking for an update on the CDBG GLO application, see where we are on that. So that's all in the works, and I just found this out just last Friday, so.
It's great news. Good job.
Okay. Any other discussion on possible funding? Okay, E. Discussion of possible action regarding the replacement of the utility disconnect and reconnect fee with the utility transfer fee. I just want to make a statement about this and then y'all can carry on. I know why it's come up and I certainly understand the issue that happened. I don't believe that council should do away with the disconnect and connection fee. However, create a transfer fee, define a transfer fee, and the parameters within which it will work, and add that to our fee schedule.
I think that was the way we concluded the last meeting. That was exactly what we think. I think the dollar amount was the only part that was in question. I think that was the,
If y'all would like to throw out a dollar amount, I can certainly get some language for you to review about, you know, when it would be appropriate, when it's not appropriate. And I believe y'all established that already, but I wasn't here at the last meeting, so, Jerry.
I am not aware of what kind of cost is involved, so I don't know if that's something that Jill or whoever could help us with, because
Yeah,
just to throw a number out there.
So this was tabled, so that's why it's back on the agenda again, because I just moved it to the next agenda. But I think where we were going with it was talking about it in a workshop, budget workshop, this discussion.
The dollar.
And then the dollar amount, and then possibly reaching out to other cities, which I could have the clerks do up front, to see what they do in the same situation. Since the last meeting, I've been super busy and haven't got that done, so I would push to put this back and discuss it on a
So I need,
workshop.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at you. Okay, so I thought that we, and I could be wrong, but what you said, what I thought was gonna happen, and that Dan was gonna put a resolution together to change the actual wording, because I think the motion that was made was that we define transfer of service in our ordinance. However, we do not specify that there's a fee involved, and we don't specify whether we treat it like, how we treat it. And it falls more in line with the way we were treating the landlord-tenant situation, where the tenant moves out and it reverts back to the landlord. To me, it falls closer to that scenario. And so, in my mind, we needed a resolution from Dan to change the ordinance to add the fact that we do charge a fee for a transfer of service, because we've already got it defined. It's clearly defined. We just need to add this to our fee schedule, I get those mixed up, the fee schedule. And so, and then we can come up with a dollar amount during a workshop.
If y'all want to table this, we can have it at the August 3rd meeting, which is next Tuesday. And we can get, it'll actually be an ordinance amending the
Right.
ordinance.
Right.
So if y'all would like to get that, we can put that on the August 3rd meeting.
Yeah, he was going out of town on vacation like the day or second day after the last meeting, and there was another item that was an executive session that was more pressing for him to get done before he left, so he did that item, and then this was gonna be moved on to the next.
Right. Okay, I think we're all on the same page. Just curious.
Could we obtain information on how often that occurs throughout a year, on the average? How many transfers, how many disconnects, reconnects we have for the next meeting?
I mean, in that type of situation, if I had to guess, I'd say under 10, because that type of situation doesn't happen.
Under 10?
I mean, that's just
And
me
I would
guessing,
think-
because
yeah.
it's not a normal, I mean,
And the way it was handled when I came in, I don't think y'all are tracking anything to even know. I mean, you're going by memory on
Yeah.
how, you already said it was.
yeah, I mean,
kind of
all
a
we could
fluke.
do is run disconnect fees and connection fees and compare the two.
And
you know what I
compare the
mean?
addresses.
But we get a lot of disconnects that have nothing to do with any of this,
Right,
so,
right.
monthly.
Yeah.
so.
But this is more of a lapse of, this is no lapse of service. This is just going from one account to the other.
Right.
So it would be a
Right, but
total-
that's what I'm saying, I don't think that the system's
Okay.
gonna track it that way, because it's
I was gonna say,
coded.
that'd be hard data
Yeah.
to find. Yeah.
So if you have a good feel for it,
So
good
very
guess.
motion to table.
So
First.
moved.
I'll second.
Second, Tony. Discussion to the August 3rd meeting for clarification. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Okay, item F, discussion of recodification of the entire Bandera Code of Ordinances. This is one that has fallen off the map, but we brought it back again just to refresh our memories. Jill?
I brought this to council several months ago. Y'all asked me to go out for bids to get other, not out for bids, but prices from other companies, which I did. And it was double what this price is, because we already have a relationship with Franklin. I'm very comfortable with Franklin. They do an excellent job for us. Anytime I send something to them, they have it back to me within a couple of days for the supplement for the books. I think this is a very important piece that needs to be done. And they've already discussed with Matt, with Simple City, kind of holding off on that one section. But as you can see, in this last week or so, we have ordinances that aren't up to par with the state regulations. And I really think this needs to be done. It hasn't been done in a long time, and I have most of the money in my budget that I didn't use somewhere else to pay for it. So I would just really urge council to push this forward and not let it sit on the table much longer.
Tony?
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
We can do discussion. I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with Franklin codifying our ordinances.
Thank you. Jerry?
I'll second that motion.
Jerry seconds. Discussion?
Yes.
Jerry?
we don't have like a total on here because I guess it depends on what per se options you go with on this. Is that correct? Am I looking at this correctly?
Well, so it's gonna be the 6450 for the
Right.
codification. We will do the online, just like we have the online now, so that's 395. And where you got hung up the last time was on the, not you personally, but council, was on the review by the attorney, wherever that is on here, I think it was $2,000. And
How
I
much?
spoke with, I don't see it on here right now, but.
Yeah, it's right here, it's on, page
1995, yeah,
3.
2000.
Yeah, there it is.
And I spoke with our city attorney about it, and he said absolutely, like, it would cost them more for them to review it, because the attorneys with Franklin already know this code. So, but again, that is 4 to 6 months completion, so we would be into the next budget by the time we got to that point, so we could budget for that out of my budget.
So what do you estimate, or what have you came up with total cost?
Right about 9,900. And I think I have 6,000 already in my budget for that. So I would just add it into my codification expense for next year. And again, this isn't something we do every year. They haven't recodified since, I think it was 2014 or 2017, one of the two. So this
It
isn't
might
a
have been
yearly
17, because I
expense.
think I was here.
It's something they recommend that we do every so many years.
But I don't think we did them, I think we just did certain areas in 17. I don't think we did all of it.
I thought that it came up recently. With us taking a look at the building inspection codes, is this gonna fit into that? How's that gonna work with that?
They're gonna hold
And-
off on that part with Simple City until we update our code, the IBC codes. And they're gonna kind of work around that area till we hear Simple Cities, and we'll work with them to integrate it. And they'll give us those supplements at that time when we get to that. And they'll be included in this rate.
So as we say, is this putting the cart before the horse?
No,
Okay.
Yeah, I had thought it was until you explained tonight how, because just seeing this item from before, I thought we were way jumping ahead of ourselves, and I too thought that we were putting the cart before the horse, but it
I've
makes
talked to
sense.
Simple City as well, and they recommend, I mean, it's their opinion that we move forward, and then they work with them in the back end to get past those points, because it needs to be done. I mean, the city's very behind on this situation, so.
I just have one really
Tell me.
quick question. So this basically baselines it, right? It puts everything in, and so if we chose to go with another company, yeah, sometimes I wonder, what country we're in. But once it baselines, then it would be easy for somebody else to take over, right? I mean, because
Well, yeah,
right now, okay. Because if we wanted to go with a different company and do,
Yeah, I mean, we're not locked in with Franklin, this is just them recodifying. If y'all decided, next year, we do pay for the online subscription, so you can get on and search for an ordinance and that kind of thing, that makes it a lot easier. But if, y'all decided next year you wanted to go with, XYZ, then we would go with them. This is just
but this content we own at this point, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
not something
It's
they
the big
own, and we
green
don't have to get
books.
somebody else to
No,
do it again.
It's the big books that we get so many copies of, that some of you have, some of you don't. And then the online disc that comes with the disc, we get the disc as well, so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
Right.
Very good, thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor? All in favor, not opposed. Okay, item 5. Request and announcements. Item A, request by council to place items on a future agenda. Council, we have a workshop the 3rd, and then we don't really have another budget workshop until the 16th. I would like to get at least 2 more workshops in that time to make up for the time that everyone's been off. June was just, July was just been way off here. I'd like also for you to, I'll get you the latest version of the budget, because we have the June numbers now, so you'll see the actual versus the projected budget, the requested budget. And let's hit this thing, if y'all wanna take it department by department. I know you've had one budget meeting already. I'm not sure where you wanna go from here.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure I'd call that a meeting.
I didn't.
We didn't have a lot, yeah, we didn't have a lot of discussion.
So we're basically beginning at the beginning?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. I mean, not good.
I mean,
but
I liked
I'm not
the-
behind, because I wasn't at that
I
meeting.
liked the summary that was given to give us kind of a heads up
Right.
of why things were going to be asked for in the future, but we never talked details or anything. I mean, it was like a,
Okay, then, if you would take a look, I'll get this out to you as soon as I can get the budget versus, I mean, the current, the June 30 numbers versus the, almost the July numbers. But anyway, give us a 9-month point.
I mean, can we try to work it in our schedules that we meet every Tuesday in August and just kind of hold that as a placeholder, except for something that, was it, is it Christine that has something on Tuesday?
No, we moved us to Tuesday so that, because we were on Monday and I
Yeah.
couldn't do Mondays.
Right,
Yeah,
so if we
Tuesdays were
move,
good.
so if we just tentatively in our schedules say we may possibly meet every Tuesday in August regarding budget, then we just, if we need it, if we're prepared, we're prepared. If we, I don't think that's too often. I hate saying that because I hate meetings, but, but I think it's necessary.
It's important.
It is important.
I'd agree with that. I
Okay, so
think it's
we
a
have
good
one on the
plan.
3rd.
Why don't we just go ahead and schedule
Yeah.
it though, and then if we don't need it, cancel it, or in other words, plan on it, because we probably will need it, I think.
And by the 3rd, I hope we have everything from the tax assessor collector, from Liba's office, tax assessor collector's office, so that we can just start to discuss the property tax rate. Because that's due after July 25th, so we should have it by then. Jared?
Just a request, is there any way possible to make them earlier than 6 o'clock?
Suits me fine, if everybody else can make it.
There, not really.
5:30?
I can do 5:30, but I mean, that really pushes it it's 35 minutes from my office to here. Like,
Keep in mind it's a workshop too, so running a couple of minutes late, it's not like, we'll wait on you.
I mean, y'all just make sure the troopers and the SO aren't between you and my office.
I do not have that kind of authority.
Will's got his hat down too, so he's not
It's
listening.
like, yeah,
It's like the-
la 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 la. Okay, so I do have a couple of things. So I would like the HR review that we had ordered. I'd like to have that part of when we talk about employees and personnel and salaries and that, whatever workshop that is. I would like to have that part of that discussion. The other piece, I looked at Simple City and I noticed that, we're gonna be really dependent on a P&Z that has been not, I mean, they haven't had meetings in quite a while, not to their, I mean, at no fault of theirs, but we just had a resignation, which I found out about. So I think we need to try to recruit good, strong P&Z, make sure all of our seats are filled because we're gonna depend on them a lot through this Simple City calendar. And hopefully they've got a copy of that too.
So we'll get a call for applicants out
I
Yeah,
already did that last
I
week.
figured you probably, okay.
again.
And then, okay, the other one I already talked about earlier on another agenda. Thank you, that's all.
And one of her items, the HR review, was one I was gonna request, so I'd like to support Tony on getting that on the agenda.
No problem. The
You
only.
wanted it in the workshop, right?
I'm
As a part
sorry.
of the workshop
Yeah.
discussion, that's what I asked for, yeah, the
Okay.
workshop, part of the workshop discussion.
I will try, we were hoping to have an administrator by now, and therefore the HR review, but we're kind of on our own right now, so we'll have to run with it. I will get it out to everyone. It is confidential at this point, so I don't know how we're gonna handle that, but I'll get back with everybody on that.
Well, we need to schedule when the workshops are, and then it'll be on that one particular workshop, so.
So the HR review wasn't, it doesn't have anything to do with individual personnel, it has to do with how we're structured, our job descriptions, postings, how, what,
Oh, well, I thought we were waiting on the admin because it was somehow,
no. We're
Okay,
just,
well,
we're
we'll
just
get
talking
after it.
about, we were talking about overall HR, how things report, what the hierarchy is? I mean, who reports to who, what their job duties are, what their description is versus a job posting versus, and then
Like that
what
flow
are
chart
their
that we
duties,
have.
so we can come up with a salary range, so that managers have a salary range to promote their employees when they're, I mean, we have to approve the budget for the job
Right.
duties, right? So to me, that's all part of this budget thing.
Okay, well, I'll get it up to you. I don't think it covers what you're expecting it to cover though, but I'll be glad to get
Okay,
it
all
up to you.
right, well, it just gives us something to start.
No
Okay,
problem.
thank you.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I think it went to you and Rebecca. So I don't know why you can't share it with everybody on council. It was y'all.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything. It shouldn't have anything to do with personnel. It has to do with structure and job duties and budget and what we need to budget for.
I would probably recommend sending it to the attorney just to make sure nothing needs to be redacted if it does become a public record.
Yeah, if you can just send it to us, right? And put it on there that it's confidential, we're not supposed to share it. Okay.
Sure.
Before, okay. All right, very good. That's all I had.
Cool.
Oh, Jerry, it was on to Jerry. I didn't have the paper.
Anything else? Okay, let's hit this budget hard. Announcement by council, item B. Anything coming up?
As a liaison of the Frontier Times Museum, I would like to say that the Frontier Times Museum put on a beautiful presentation for the Texas Hall of Heroes this last Friday. They got the meat catered and all of the board members, and then I contributed to the food, to the buffet, and it was very well attended. The Anderwalls and the Mazurks and the Montagues, and it was great to see Mr. Ross, right, the artist? Moss. I knew I wasn't going to say that right. It was Moss. It was really neat to be introduced to him too, because I wasn't familiar with him, and it was a really neat event. And then Saturday there was so much going on at the courthouse, and it just seemed like the weather was perfect because we'd had a rainy June, and everybody was ready into July, and everybody was ready to get out, and it just seemed like a really well attended event. And anybody that had anything to do with any of it, I'd like to say congratulations, kudos, and thank you. So
Awesome. Anything else, council?
I just want to say one quick thing. I know there was some stuff on Facebook alleging that the marshals weren't working hard on taking care of drugs in our community, and I know better than that. So I want to say here that I'm proud of our marshal's office. Thank you, Will, and to all your deputies for how hard y'all work and working on getting drugs out of our community, as well as everything else that y'all do,
Excellent.
including city ordinances.
Thank you, Madam.
whether they're codified or not,
So,
I'll second.
even though we understand they're a mess and we're working on it.
I know that wasn't a motion, but I second that.
Okay. Jerry?
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I move to adjourn this
Good
meeting.
for you.
Oh,
And everybody second? Darcy
I was gonna
said
say
it's
Christine's
her.
either seconding or she said she was gonna make an announcement. I'm not
No,
sure.
I'm seconding. I'm good.
All in favor?
Thank y'all.
All in favor, no opposed. Thanks, guys. 6:43.